Oh no, they'll be back on that Ryanair flight. Do not disturb for 1 hour. Hopefully we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Yes, good morning Facebook and YouTube. Let's go live on Instagram. Wednesday morning, so we focused just that little bit more on movement, strength, flexibility. Just had some really good questions in our little pre-Q&A session on Zoom for our premium members, and talking about different ways in terms of spine rotation. So we'll have a little play around with that, because we always use that as a way just to get that mobilization going and getting the blood flowing, getting warmed up. So take your feet shoulder width apart. Make sure you've got plenty of room side to side, forwards and back. Let me just pop that light on just to give us a little bit more brightness. It's not plugged in. If I prepared myself before today, it'd be all right, wouldn't I? Let me plug my light in and give us a little bit more light there. So feet shoulder width apart. Get nice and connected to the ground, nice and stable and supported on the ground. And then we're just going to start gently rotating from the hips and the waist, tall through the spine. Breath in and out through the nose. Keeping the length through the spine, so just lifting through the crown. Lengthening and lifting. Bringing the arm that swings across the front of the body into a light fist, so we're just tapping on the chest, pec muscles, lung point, if we're thinking from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective. You may, when you're activating this point here, you may just feel as if you want to take a cleansing and clearing breath. So maybe taking a slightly fuller breath in and letting go. Just do that if it feels good. You may not feel you need it, but a couple of nice cleansing and clearing breaths. Breathing in, letting go. Cupping the hand now and getting right into the shoulder. So you'll see you're driving a little bit more from the ground through to the hips and the waist, a little bit more drive with the lower body. Should feel quite nice getting all of those big shoulder muscles. And then let's come back down to chest. You'll notice the drive from the lower body slows down a little bit. You don't need quite as much. And then back down to belly and back. And slowing it down into water waves. Just really slowing everything down. It's like a slow motion video or movie film that you're watching. Hardly disturbing the air around you. Notice the rotation in the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, the fingers. And that movement is still driving here from the hips and the waist. And take a moment, just walk your feet together. Just stand for a moment, hip width apart. Maybe give the shoulders a little bit of a shake, the wrists a little bit of a shake if you need. And just stand, letting the breath settle. Christine in our pre-chat made a really good observation about how in certain exercises where the hips stay pretty stable, and that's, you can do that on the floor, you can do that sitting, but I'm going to give you a standing position where we can work on rotation of the spine but just keeping the hips stable. So we take the hips out of the equation, then we'll come back and then we'll bring the hips back into the equation. So just playing around a little bit. Stay with this hip width apart and go into, I'm just about to sit on that chair behind me. So there's no chair behind me. I know there's no chair behind me, but you're going to sit back. So we go into sort of like an eighth of a squat there. And then you can either just rest palm to palm, or you can interlace fingers, and you're going to rest that on the rib cage, on your sternum. And we're going to slightly tilt forward, not too far forwards. And then you are going to rotate very gently the spine. Just the spine, and you want to keep the hands on the sternum and the lower body pretty stable. So you'll see the difference here now from what we've just done. We're still doing spine rotation, but we're just, and I don't like to say isolating because obviously the legs are working, the whole body's working, but we're just focusing, putting a little bit more, is more than awareness. We're using just the spine to rotate there. So you're just rotating the spine. So no movement here. And you can start, if you can just make that maybe a little bit quicker. And you'll notice if you start using your elbows and pulling the hands across, our hands stay on the chest. So we really just work the spine. And then slowly come up back to standing. So it's a nice way of just focusing on a particular area. And you'll notice there's not as much movement. And I'll go back into just knocking and having a little glance behind you. When you bring that whole body into the movement, you've got the ankles, you've got the knees, softening in the knees, hips are moving. You can go a lot further, you can rotate a lot further when everything is connected, when there's a sequence of events, when you're coordinated. And slow it down. We'll stay with spine rotation. You'll be all spiraling around when we finish this one. Another way you can do it is you can actually, as you're rotating, you can just shift the weight a little bit more and just lift the heel. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you can see that there. You're just lifting the heel off the ground. So I'm just shifting the weight more one side than the other, one side and to the other. That's a nice way of doing it. Then you can maybe just look a little bit more side to side there. And this is good because even though you're shifting weight, you're still connecting the ball of the foot when you're lifting the heel. So you can still have that awareness of connecting the bubbling spring into the ground. And you get that flexibility, you get that movement through the toes as well. And slow it down. We're going to have loads of great spine rotation. Slow it down. And then we'll do one more. Let's go wide, so nice and wide. And this time we're going to shift and we can lift the heel, or you can keep the heel onto the ground. So you can lift or keep the heel onto the ground. Or maybe mix it up, maybe lift a few. And then maybe keep a heel onto the ground for a few. And lift a few. And heel onto the ground. Now, even though there is a slight lean as you're shifting side to side, make sure we're not over leaning side to side too much. So I've still got my focus ahead. So I'm really driving again from the hips and the waist. Really feel the legs working here. Hips working, glutes working. And slow it down. Walking the feet back together and having a little bit of a shake out. Loads of ways you can rotate the spine there. So remember, if we're just taking the hips out of the equation, say if you are sitting down and you just did a very gentle spine rotation. If you're doing, like we've done, we might do it towards the end of this session where we're doing the horse stance, you can then put like a little bit of rotation into that as well. But let's do, let's do a little bit of flexion and extension. We'll take our feet about hip width apart again. Let's raise our arms up. As you raise your arms up, keep the shoulders down and just lift the sternum and the throat up towards the sky. And then just let the arms go. Make sure there's nothing behind you where you're going to whack your fingers, because there's nothing worse than whacking your fingers because it really hurts. So we're not tilting at all yet. We're just doing standing, reaching, lifting here and letting go. Standing, lifting, and letting go. And again, standing, letting go. So what I'm really working on here is the upper bit. We're aiming for this part here, this upper bit of the thoracic spine, lifting, letting go. Not forcing or flaring those ribs out as much as possible, keeping those ribs in the body and letting go, not leaning back or anything. Couple more like that. And then we're going to add a little bit of a bounce into it. So again, Just take this easy. It's going to be a little bit more dynamic. If you have any pain in your hips, knees, etc., just stop. It's not about forcing anything. So as we let go, we just drop down and do a little bounce and then come back up and drop down. Drop down. Hips go back. Chest stays lifted. So even though I'm hinging forwards from the hips, I'm not looking towards the ground, I'm not tilting too far towards the ground. Still keep facing forwards. Still keep lifting here at the top, shoulders down. And you could do a nice breath in and let go. Just a couple of times. You don't want to start over breathing as we're doing this, but you just need that little bit of cleansing and clearing. Couple more. And take a rest. Shake out a little bit, shake the legs out. Yeah, let's do the wider stance one now. So go wide stance. And then we need to go quite wide, come to one side and just rest. And bring that arm up. And then scoop through. And scoop through. Make sure that arm is hanging over the head and you can look up to it, so you get that nice stretch through the side. So we're getting that lateral flexion of the spine and we're getting a stretch of the opposite side. Have in mind almost that you've got, when you're in this position, you've got a piece of glass in front and a piece of glass behind. So we get that nice opening, and you may find different side to side. You may not. Let's do one more to each side. And then just rest in the middle. You can just rest. Forearms on the thighs, sitting back, tall spine. And then only if it feels comfortable, straighten out the legs and just hang down the center. Breathing easy. If that's really, really difficult, just soften the knees a little bit more, even bend the knees a little bit. Again, we're not locking the knees or locking the legs. We're just getting that nice length through the hamstrings. Slightly bring the weight towards the ball of the foot. You'll feel them engage a little bit more. And then just breathing and relaxing into that. If it feels comfortable, just slightly rotating towards one side.
You'll feel that nice ringing, that twist. Maybe through the leg towards the side you're rotating, back to the center. Slightly rotate to the other side. Back to center. See if you can hang a little bit more, let the head go. Everybody's going to be different here. It's not about forcing. It's not just about flexibility, it's about the strength and flexibility. Breathing. And when you're ready, bending the knees and just rolling up. Work vertebra by vertebra from the lower spine. Take it really slowly.
And then bringing the hands up, again, just really slowly. And just having a little bit of a bend backwards. But again, mindfully lifting the chest first, lifting the sternum. So we're not overstretching or putting loads of pressure on that lower back. Open the throat, breathing, and then just coming back to standing. And slowly bringing the arms back down. Walking the feet together. And having a little bit of a shake. Let's have a good shake after that. So we can either just tap the heels together into the ground to get that vibration. We can create the washing machine, which I'm enjoying quite a lot at the minute. So really get that vibration going through the body, wrists, shoulders. So do some cleansing and clearing breaths, breathing in, letting go. Good old shake, 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 shake. And then slowing it down, just standing hip width again, just opening up the shoulders. Letting the breath settle. Stepping back out, let's go a little bit wider again, so shoulder width and a bit apart. And we're just going to do a slightly wider sumo type squat. So we got our feet slightly turned out and we're just lowering to the ground and then coming back up. So you should feel that little bit more stretch there through the thighs, making sure the knees aren't dropping in. So keep those thighs open, knees gliding over the toes, just comfortable. As you're pushing yourself back up, really engage those leg muscles. Let's do a little bit of coordination with the arms. So as we go down, swing the arms across the body, and then as you come up, bring the arms up and then down and up and down. This is like going back to the 80s, this. Bit of Jane Fonda. And then you can, again, as long as it feels comfortable, just build up the momentum a little bit. Don't want anybody hurting. Once you've got the technique, breathing easy. As we get the planes landing, Dropping down and coming back up, and dropping down and coming back up. And slowing it down. And just coming back, bringing the feet back together, having that little bit of a shake out again. Letting the breath settle, you'll notice the heart rate has gone up a little bit doing that. So just letting the heart rate reduce, letting the breath settle. And then back to shoulder width apart, just finishing with a little pulling down, breathing in. Breathing out. Helping to slow the heart rate. And then interlocking, thumbs resting on the lower dantian, bringing the feet together. And just closing your eyes, just having a few moments of bamboo in the wind. And taking a breath, opening your eyes, stepping out, really pressing the palms together, bending the elbows, brushing down the back, front and the back of the body, the inside of the legs. One more time, pressing the palms together, pushing, 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 bending. Giving your tummy a good rub. Excellent, and we will finish there. So a few new little things we've just thrown in there. Thanks, Christine, for giving us that little bit of an intention, just playing around with those spinal rotations. So have a little think about that. And as always, if there's anything that you want to cover in these sessions, in the Mondays or the Wednesday sessions, do drop me an email or send me a message and we can start to incorporate that. But remember the basics, 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 get that spine working, energized. Excellent. Have a great heat wave if you're in the UK, which I'm sure you will, and I will see you next Monday. Take care.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.